What up, what up, what up, Fin fans? Welcome to another episode of the Fin Posse Podcast. I'm your host, Big C, brought to you by Game Changers Media. How is everybody doing this morning? Good morning, Raphael. How are you doing? Yep, got that cup of Joe, gotta have it. How is everybody doing? Yeah. So another day, another dollar. Let's a beautiful Tuesday, a great day to be alive. It's cold as shit. I'm ready for this cold weather to be over up here in New York. New York. Raphael, where are you from again? I like the cold weather. Don't get me wrong. Like for Christmas, I don't want to be somewhere where it's hot. Like I don't want to be in a. I want snow. Too bad. The shitty thing is here where I live in upstate New York. It's cold, but we don't get the benefits of the cold. Like I'm one of them people that if it's gonna get snow, I want a foot. You know what I mean? I want a foot. I want to be able to not be able to travel. You can't leave the house. You just look out the window and you watch it pile up, pile up, pile up. And for you people that are from warm climates, maybe you've never experienced that, but it's magical. It really is. You just see everything is so beautiful and pristine outside. It looks like the world has been untouched, and it's just a wonderful, wonderful view and sight to see. Now, if I lived up closer to where a lot of my relatives do in Buffalo, they get smashed. They get something what's called lake effect snow. Man, they get on the regular, they get 3 feet, 4 feet. I mean, I think the one year, a couple years ago, they got 7 feet of snow within 48 hours, which was absolutely astonishing. You know what I mean? Can you imagine 7 feet of really think about it? 7 feet, like literally 7 feet of snow in 48 hours. That's crazy. Raphael, born in California, but live in Arizona now. Hella hot, but cheap. Is it cheap out there in Arizona? It's expensive here in New York. I'll tell you what. Everything is so expensive here in New York. Me and my cousin, I mean, if you've watched the Game Changers and the Blitz, my cousin Mike. We were just talking about how corrupt the government is and how corrupt taxation is and how expensive everything is. I mean, he's got 2 kids. I don't want to put his business out there, but he made a decent amount of money for a single guy. He goes to file taxes. He's getting $1,100 back. Now he had totaled his car recently, hitting a deer. So he was looking forward. I mean, he's got 2 kids. So he's thinking he's going to get a decent chunk of change back, because you sit there and you watch, you witness these people that only work 6 months out the year and make $5,000, claim 2 kids, and they get 12 grand back. So he was thinking, hey, maybe I'll get 3,500 back, something so I can put a down payment on a car. Well, he's getting like $1,100 back. And we was just talking about, I'm a homeowner, you know what I mean? So I got property tax, I got city tax, I got school tax, all these different taxes. Well, first off, you tax all the money that we make. The government taxes every dollar that we make. So let's say you bring home, you make $800 a week. You're only bringing home 6, and then you got to pay taxes on the place that you live. So they're taxing the dollar that way. They tax your dollar every opportunity they can when you go to the grocery store. Everything you buy is taxed. Like how much is your dollar really worth at the end of the day? When you make $1, how much of that dollar is actually yours to spend? It's absolutely ridiculous. This country is ass backwards. They're definitely bending you over the table and taking what they can from you, which is pretty much everything. You know what I mean? It's hard to come up in this world unless you're already coming from money. You know what I mean? So It's very frustrating. Very, very frustrating. Good morning, Bonnie. How are you today? How are you on this beautiful Tuesday? So let's talk about these Miami Dolphins. I was looking through some things, and yesterday, Myles Garrett requests a trade out of Cleveland. Excuse me. Now, can you blame the guy? Can you blame the guy? The guy's one of the best defenders in all of football. By the time it's said and done, he may go down as one of the greatest of all time. He's a 2-time defending defensive player of the year. He's been stuck on this Cleveland Browns team his whole career. They have no opportunity to even compete. They're not even near ready to compete. They went and signed Deshaun Watson to this absolute. It was just mind-boggling that they even gave Deshaun Watson this deal, considering the allegations against him, considering he sat out for a year, considering the fact that he's kind of got an injury history too. So the fact that they gave him all that money and guaranteed it is absolutely crazy. So Myles Garrett is, he's frustrated. Wouldn't you be? I would be. You're giving everything you got to this franchise, and they're just not. They're being the Cleveland Browns. They're not making no progress. They're not building anything. They're not getting any closer to being a contender. What's up, Shake Money? What up? Where will Myles Garrett go? I was watching a couple shows, and they're talking about, could he be a possibility for the Miami Dolphins? And that it seems outrageous, right? It seems outrageous. There's no way that the Miami Dolphins can make this move, right? There's no way that the Miami Dolphins can make this move. But wouldn't that be the most Chris Grier thing to do? Wouldn't that be the most Chris Grier thing to do? To make this big splashy play, this big splashy move to try to save his job, but it doesn't address any of our areas of need. Now you could argue that we do need pass rush help. And I could agree with that. But is that one of the glaring holes? Is that one of the areas that is really holding this team back at this moment? Because we're supposed to be getting Jalen Phillips back. We got Chop Robinson. Maybe Bradley Chubb comes back. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe. So, wouldn't that be the most Chris Grier thing? Wouldn't that be typical Chris Grier to go out there and mortgage the future of this team? And would I love to have Myles Garrett on this team? Absolutely. Who won it? But it does not fix any holes on this team that we have. So there goes a big portion of cap space. There goes draft capital for this year and the future. Or there goes a draft capital plus, because it's gonna take a big move. We're not talking about one pick and here you go. We're talking about a first round plus one of our best players, or multiple first rounds. It's going to take an awful lot. Defensive end Kamara, rookie, didn't do much last year. I had high hopes for rookie from Colorado State. Yeah, I mean, I thought Kamara was going to do more than what he did too. He wasn't really given an opportunity. The few times that he was allowed to play, he played all right. He just wasn't given very many opportunities, which I found was strange because we didn't have much of a pass rush. Now, I was watching Alan Poupart, and he was talking about possible trade packages and what it would cost. Now, obviously, you could go with I've heard as high as 3 first-round picks. I think that's absolutely crazy. I don't think there's no way in hell that, unless your name's Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson, that you're worthy of 3 first-round draft picks. Myles wants to be on a Super Bowl team, so I don't think he'll come to Miami. Bonnie, that may be true, but think about where he's coming from. He's coming from a Cleveland Browns team, cold, miserable, bottom of the barrel team. If the opportunity of Miami were to arise, you're coming to beautiful, beautiful weather. You're coming to a franchise in a state with no state income tax. You're coming to a team that has an opportunity. He's seen that they've been to the playoffs. He sees that maybe they're just a few pieces away. You know what I mean? Raphael says Myles Garrett better not go to the Bills, Jets, or New England. I mean, I've heard the Bills' name out there. I'm not gonna lie, I have heard the Bills' name. But yeah, the Alan Poupart was talking, and what would it take for us to go and get Myles Garrett? Now, I think if you're talking about just trading draft picks, I think it's going to take at least a first and probably 2 seconds. I wouldn't be surprised at that. A first and 2 seconds. If you're talking players, I can't see us throwing in. We have beautiful weather, but still bottom of the barrel team. I wouldn't go with Shake. We're not bottom of the barrel team, brother. Like, again, we've witnessed bottom of the barrel. Sometimes, it's crazy that we're so spoiled, that as this fan base can be so spoiled at times, because we've been bad, bro. We've been bad. 2 out of the last 3 years, we've been in the playoffs. Last year, we missed the playoffs by 1 game with our quarterback missing 6 games. How can you say that's bottom of the barrel? How can you say that's bottom of the barrel? You can't. You can't say it. Like, let's keep it real. Let's keep it funky fresh. Now, you can hate Tua and hate the direction and be frustrated with the not knowing on a yearly basis or a weekly basis if our quarterback's going to be healthy. But you can't just create your own narratives to create them. You can't do it. This team is not a bottom of the barrel team. They're not a Cleveland Browns. They're not you know what I mean? They're not that. They're not that. When you're competing for a playoff berth year in and year out, or you're making the playoffs year in, year out, especially with the amount of injuries we've had, how can you say this team's a bottom barrel team? I don't understand it. I don't make it make sense to me, please. Please make it make sense to me, because I just don't see it. So, like I said, Alan Poupart and Chris Perkins, we're talking about different scenarios. One scenario they shot out there was you give him a draft pick plus Tua Tagovailoa. It may be we can't trade Chubb because of his contract, but maybe Jalen Phillips. Maybe Jalen Phillips. Your first round, Tua and Jalen Phillips. Would that get the job done? I don't know about that. I don't know that the Cleveland Browns would like to take on another huge contract from another quarterback that can't stay healthy. So that's definitely questionable. Still nowhere near a playoff. What's near a playoff win? We lost to the Buffalo Bills by 3 points with a backup quarterback. That's nowhere near a playoff win. The next year, with an injury-riddled team, would we lose by 12 points to the 3, maybe soon to be 3 straight Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs in -10 degree weather? And then this year, like, come on. Nowhere near. I've watched Dan Marino, the great Dan Marino, get beat by 40 in the playoffs with a great defense. Was that team closer than this team is to a playoff win? Like, come on, man. We're not that far off. If Tua can stay healthy, we're not that far off. A loss is a loss no matter how you slice it. But you're saying nowhere close. Shake, you're saying nowhere close, brother. If this offensive line is rebuilt into a top 10 offensive line, we're nowhere close to a playoff win. Like, come on, man. Come on. Yeah, so I don't know about the Tua thing. Maybe a first round, Jalen Phillips and Jalen Waddle. Would you be all right with that trade for Myles Garrett? Jalen Waddle, Jalen Phillips, and a first round draft pick? I think I'd be all right with that. Now, I think this trade is a long shot. I really do. I really think it is. Tua is our handicap. You can only fill a cup so much. I'm not saying Tua isn't a handicap to a point. Miami got killed by the playoff teams. What game did they get killed in? You tell me what game that we got killed in this year. Did Buffalo kill us in Buffalo? Shit, as bad as we played against the Texans, did the Texans kill us? As bad as Tua played in that game, did the Texans kill us? Because I'm pretty sure we had an opportunity to go down the field that last drive that Tua threw his third interception and tie the game up. We still didn't get killed by Houston. We didn't get killed by Houston. Green Bay beat us, and maybe the score looked a little bit closer than what it was. Okay, teams have games like that. Look how bad the Ravens beat up on the Bills this year. You know what I mean? Rams made the playoffs, shake money. Rams made the playoffs and won a playoff game, didn't they? Or no, they didn't win it. They didn't make a playoff. Didn't they win a playoff game? I wouldn't say Buffalo killed us. Tua played horrible in that game. Horrible. But they still didn't kill us. And Tua missed half the game. Regardless, if they fix the trenches on this team, the offensive line, we're not that far off. If we fix the trenches, we can win a playoff game. Absolutely, 100%. If we fix the offensive line this year, if Chris Greer does what he's supposed to do, we can win a playoff game this year if Tua stays healthy. You can't tell me otherwise. You really can't. Now, again, do I think the Myles Garrett trade happens? No. I'm just saying, wouldn't that be typical Chris Greer? Wouldn't it be? You go get this high, flashy, big name free agent that doesn't necessarily fill a hole for us, and it puts a Band-Aid on things, right? Wouldn't that be the most Chris Greer thing to do, to try to save his job? To go out there and try to pull this off? So I absolutely think it is a long shot. I really do. But don't be surprised. Don't be surprised if it were to happen. Just don't be surprised if it were to happen. Miami Dolphins are paying Tua as franchise quarterback, but he doesn't meet that level of play for pay. Absolutely. There's no way that he should be making $50 million a year. There's no way. You're absolutely right about that, Raphael. What's up? Good morning, Timothy. Good morning. You're absolutely right, Raphael. Tua should not make $50 million a year. He's not a $50 million a year quarterback. Is he good enough to win games in this league? Yes. Is he good enough to win a playoff game in this league? Yes, I believe he is. His major downfall is him being his injury history, and his availability is not up to par. You can't pay a quarterback $50 million a year when you're not sure on a weekly basis if he's going to be able to suit up for you. You can't build a team around that. You can't do it. You can't do it. Yet here we are. So we're talking about Tua Tagovailoa. Who is the perfect backup quarterback? Who is, in your opinion, is the perfect backup quarterback to bring in for when Tua does go down? Because chances are 1 out of 5 seasons he stayed healthy. Chances are there's going to come a point in this season where Tua's going to have to miss games. There's going to come a point in this season where Tua's not going to be able to play a game. Now, hopefully, we're only in a position where it's a game here, a game there, if any games. Hopefully, we're not going through long stretches of injured reserve or not knowing what's going on like we did with the hip injury. Who is the perfect backup quarterback for the Miami Dolphins? We got a couple answers here in the chat. Timothy says Jake Browning. Raphael says Jameson interception machine Winston. Raphael also says Joe the statue Flacco. Shake Money says Mac Jones. Shake, I kind of agree with the Mac. I think Mac Jones is, of the ones listed right there, I say Mac Jones is the best answer out of the ones listed. Absolutely. Mac Jones is very similar to Tua Tagovailoa. Very, very similar to Tua Tagovailoa. Raphael says Uncle Rico. Uncle Rico come in and play a couple good games. Yeah, absolutely. See that mountain over there? Yeah, Mac Jones, another Alabama product, another guy with not a huge arm, but very, very accurate. Can put the ball where it needs to be. Shake Money says, I say Mac Jones. He knows to run Russ offense. Bonnie says, I heard they were looking at Marcus Mariota. Yes, Bonnie, Marcus Mariota is a very interesting. He's a very interesting name. Him and Tua, first off, they get along great. They're both Hawaiian kids. Marcus Mariota is pretty accurate. Marcus Mariota brings that element of he's not a statue back there. He can make plays with his legs. He's a vet. How about John Wick? Keanu Reeves and replacements. Yeah. Yeah. We go that. Go Adam Sandler from The Longest Yard, you know. Yeah, I mean, I think Marcus Mariota is a very interesting name. One that I wouldn't mind, and I don't know why it hasn't been brought up more, is Daniel Jones. I feel like Daniel Jones is kind of like I think he's a more mobile version of Mac Jones. I really do. I wonder if they're related anywhere. I never heard that they were. Mac Jones, Daniel Jones. I think Daniel Jones is a very accurate quarterback. I think Daniel Jones is very athletic, very mobile. He's got good wheels on him. I think Daniel Jones is very smart. Daniel Jones, coming into the league, spent a lot of time around the Manning brothers. That he had been known to go to all the Manning camps, and he was very close to Eli and Peyton. I think he's super intelligent. I wouldn't mind Daniel Jones. I think his skill set would fit in perfectly here in Miami. You just need people that are capable of doing the things that Tua can do. That's the key. You got to bring someone in that's very similar to Tua. Raphael says Mitch Trubisky, Minshew, Derek Carr, Jameis Winston, etc. Yeah, there's a bunch of names, a bunch of possibilities, which drives me crazy that we ended up going with Skylar Thompson last year with all these possibilities available. Skylar freaking Thompson. But you gotta go with the guy that's the most similar to Tua, because Mike McDaniel hasn't shown the ability to adjust the offense to match up with other quarterback skill sets. Like when we brought in Snoop Huntley last year, Mike McDaniel didn't change up the offense. He sent Snoop Huntley out there to play Tua's offense. And Snoop Huntley isn't that quarterback. He's not that type of quarterback. He's not he's built on athleticism. He's a Lamar Jackson, a poor man's Lamar Jackson. Daniel Jones would be a perfect backup for Lamar. Yeah, I mean, Daniel Jones would be good. I think Daniel Jones would be good in a lot of situations. I mean, I feel like Daniel Jones got a raw deal. I don't think Daniel Jones is the greatest quarterback in the world, don't get me wrong. But I think Daniel Jones got a wrong deal in New York, just like Saquon Barkley did. Just like Saquon Barkley did. Justin Fields, Russell Wilson. I wouldn't mind Russ. I think Russ has a pretty good deep ball. I wouldn't mind Russell Wilson, especially if he came in super cheap. Justin Fields, I think he'd bring that athletic, mobile version to us, and it might take our running game to the next level. I just don't have the confidence in Mike McDaniel to make adjustments in this offense to fit Justin Fields' play style. And then you got to worry about with Justin Fields. He's not the passer of the football that Tua Tagovailoa is. Then you got to worry about pissing Tyreek off, because I don't know if Justin Fields going to be able to get the ball to Tyreek on a consistent basis. And Tyreek is on the verge of losing it on this franchise, and it could get very ugly very quickly. I think Justin Fields will sign with the Colts. Tim, that'd be a nice pickup for them. I think that'd be him and Anthony Richardson are very similar quarterbacks. So that'd make a ton of sense for him to go and be the Colts backup quarterback. I think that's a great idea. What about Ryan Tannehill? What about Ryan Tannehill, everyone? What do you think about bringing back Ryan Tannehill? Do you think Ryan Tannehill could step in and win some games for this team? I think Ryan Tannehill's accurate enough. I think Ryan Tannehill has some athleticism. Bonnie says no. Bonnie says no, stay away. Anyone but him. Listen, I didn't hate Tannehill while he was here. I think he got a raw deal also. What frustrated me about Ryan Tannehill the most, I like Ryan Tannehill. Raphael says Dolphins don't double dip like other teams do with bring players back. What irritated me the most, and it might be very, what's the word I'm looking for? Immature of me. But do you remember watching Hard Knocks and when Ryan Tannehill was a rookie? And they were sitting in the quarterback room and they were talking, and Ryan Tannehill did not know what teams were in the AFC, what teams were in the NFC. And that always rubbed me the wrong way. You know what I mean? It always rubbed me the wrong way that a quarterback in the NFL doesn't pay enough attention to the to the product to know what teams are in the AFC and what teams are in the NFC or what teams are in what division. Does anybody else remember that? And it just always rubbed me the wrong way that he didn't know that. It always rubbed me the wrong way that he didn't know that you weren't a student enough of the game that you didn't know something so simple as that. Like, how much did you really pay attention to football? How much did you really study football if you don't even know the divisions? If you don't know what teams can play each other in the Super Bowl? And that always irritated me about Ryan Tannehill. It really did. Tannehill said that, but to a market is the market. We brought back Jason Taylor, Raphael Cartwright. Yeah, we did bring back Jason Taylor. We should have never let Jason walk out the door, to be honest. Why did we let Jason walk out the door? Yeah, he was an aging player. He went and had some decent years with the Jets, though. The guy to Jay, the Jets motivator. What up? What up? Oh, you coming in here shooting shots. Okay. Tyreek gone soon. Tyreek ain't going nowhere. Who's your quarterback, bro? Before you come in here shooting shots, who even is your quarterback? See, we know what's wrong with our team over here in Miami. What's wrong with the New York Jets? Because y'all had a great team this year. You guys had a stacked defense. You had Aaron Rodgers. You went and traded for Devontae Adams. You had Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall, who's going to be the next Christian McCaffrey. Who you got? Jets motivator. Come on, brother. Come on, brother. Come on now. JT came back after Jets. Yeah, he did. Jason Taylor came back. Jason Taylor, one of my most favorite players ever. Yeah, he came back after the Jets, didn't he? He came back after the Jets. Where he went to Washington, to the Jets, right? Let's check it out. Jason Taylor's career. Let's take a look in the mirror. Let's take a look at Jason Taylor. Yes, 2008, he went to Washington. He came back 2009, played for the Dolphins again. 2010 with the Jets. 2011 back with Miami. Yeah. And he had a terrible year in Washington, only 3.5 sacks. He had only 5 sacks with the Jets. His last year in Miami, he had 7 sacks. So, yeah, he came back twice. We brought him back twice. I love JT, but I named one of my sons after Hall of Famer Zach Thomas. Listen, we haven't had a linebacker like Zach Thomas since Zach Thomas. That's another huge hole that I feel like this team has been missing, is another player like Zach Thomas. We've never been able to fill that void. We've never been able to fill that void of having that player like Zach Thomas. The two of them together were awesome. Listen, if you think about the late 90s, early 2000s defense, man, was that a stacked defense or what? Yeah, Raphael, you're right. JT had a kid with Zach Thomas' sister. They were married, yep. If you think about that defense, it was stacked. You had Jason Taylor. You had Zach Thomas. You had Trace Armstrong, Tim Bowens. Think about the corners we had. We had 2 of the top 5 corners in the league. Sam Madison, Pat Surtain. We had 2 of the best corners in the league at the same time. Brock Marion at safety. Daryl Gardner. Bro, we were stacked. This defense was a championship defense. This was a championship defense. We were stacked. And then y'all want to say, Raphael, I'm calling you out. Armando, I'm calling you out. Y'all want to say, Jay Fiedler better than Tua Tagovailoa. Give me a freaking break. If Tua was the quarterback of that team, we'd be Super Bowl champions. Jay Fiedler, I brought his stats up the other night. Come on, man. Jay Fiedler, his best year ever, he had 20 touchdowns, 3,000 yards passing, and 19 interceptions. Terrible. His best year after that, 14 touchdowns, 14 interceptions, 2,200 yards. This guy was throwing for 136 yards a game and less than a touchdown. And he better than Tua? Come on, man. Come on, man. Come on, man. Cleo Lemon better than Tua. Now you just capping. Raphael over here capping this morning. It's too early for that, Raphael. You better go back to bed if you're going to be in here. Cleo Lemon. Cleo Lemon better than Tua. Oh, man. Cleo Lemon better than Tua Tagovailoa. Cleo Lemon. For shits and giggles, let's take a look at his career stats. Professional football player Cleo Lemon's career stats. Cleo Lemon. I know you were shooting names out there like Marcus Vick and come on, man. Marcus Vick, did he even have a touchdown pass in his career? Cleo Lemon's career stats, 8 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. 8 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. Marcus Vick's career stats. Jay was definitely a better leader and more durable. He didn't have to be a leader on that team, though. He really didn't. Shay, I mean, he was more durable, absolutely. I mean, anybody's more durable than Tua at this point. Steve DeBerg, Bernie Kosar, Gus Frerotte, etc. I mean, what are you saying those are better? Those are better than Tua? Marcus Vick didn't even have a pass in the NFL. He played in one game and had one target and didn't make the catch. Y'all stop it. Bernie Kosar didn't do nothing here in Miami. What did Gus Frerotte do in Miami? David Garrard. Come on. You're pulling names out of a hat now. You just thinking of random names? David Garrard. Marcus Vick didn't even throw a pass in the NFL. He played one snap. Y'all are trolling Tua. That's cool. You know what I mean? Y'all control Tua. I'm all right with it. But I ain't gonna sit here and let you lie. Dante Culpepper, come on, man. That's one of the hugest mistakes we've ever made. Dante Culpepper was beyond washed when he got here, and he was probably just a product of his environment anyway. He came from an offense that had 2 of the greatest receivers of all time on there. You know what I mean? Like, you came from a crazy loaded offense where as long as you got the ball in the vicinity, it was going to be caught. How good was Dante Culpepper in reality? You know what I mean? How good was Dante Culpepper truthfully? So, yeah, I mean, I would like to see, as far as backup quarterbacks, I think Mac Jones would be a great answer. He tore it up with the Vikings. He had Randy Moss, bro. He had Chris Carter. He had Robert Smith at running back. You're right. If Tua can stay healthy, he can win a lot of games. He has talent. He just needs to stay healthy. You're absolutely right, Bonnie. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. You're absolute Bonnie's got the comment of the day. Bonnie's keeping it real. Y'all are capping right now. Y'all don't want Cleo Lemon come back out here and play quarterback. Y'all don't want that. And you know when Skylar Thompson was in there struggling to get a first down, you was hoping Tua could come back sooner. You was begging for Tua to come back. Stop fronting. Stop fronting. Tua can win against good teams too. This team ain't built properly to beat good teams. Is that all Tua's fault? Not Tua has played terrible against some. He's played bad against some good teams. But that's what good teams will do to quarterbacks. Bad teams will make you not look as good as what you are. That's why they're good teams. These good teams, the Kansas City Chiefs, the Baltimore Ravens, the Buffalo Bills, they're built properly. They're built along the trenches. The Miami Dolphins aren't built in the trenches. So their trenches are going to dominate our trenches. What's going to happen? They're going to beat the shit out of us. Like, come on. That's what's going to happen. Look how great Pat Mahomes is. Look how great he is. And look what the Bucs did to him in the Super Bowl when his offensive line was shot. Look what they did to him in the Super Bowl when his offensive line was shot. Why does Pat Mahomes get the benefit of the doubt, but Tua can't? We had John Beck teach Tua. Where is Tua gone? Wild Hemmick came. Did FBI take film with Diddy film? Maybe. Maybe Mike McDaniel and Tua were doing some freaky deaky, Brian. You know? But like, come on, like, why can the good quarterbacks, the great quarterbacks in this league get the benefit of the doubt? You know what I mean? When Pat Mahomes played terrible in that Super Bowl and they couldn't get nothing going and they lost to the Bucs, why'd he get a pass? Why was it all right? Why was it all right? But Tua don't have an offensive line his whole career, and it's still all Tua's fault. Half our defense is injured one year, and we have a September or a December meltdown, and it's all Tua's fault. The game against Dallas 2 years ago. Oh, we beat Dallas and they were a good team, but we kicked nothing but field goals. Tua hit Tyreek deep downfield. This should have been a 60, 70-yard touchdown. Tyreek dropped the ball. That's Tua's fault. Everything can't be Tua's fault, guys. It can't be. And if you're saying Tua's not good enough to win games in this league, you're lying. You're lying to yourself. You're lying to the rest of the fan base. Tua can win. Does he need more things to be perfect around him than a lot of quarterbacks do? Yeah. Does he need a better team around him than Patrick Mahomes? Yeah. Does he need a better team around him than Josh Allen? Yeah. He does. He's not one of those quarterbacks. He's not Josh Allen. He's not Patrick Mahomes. He's not on their level. But he's on a level that he can go win games. You bring Jared Goff here. Bring Jared Goff to Miami. Does Jared Goff get the Dolphins to 15 wins? Does Jared Goff come here and take the Dolphins to 15 wins? No. You go put Tua in Detroit. Does Detroit get 14, 15 wins? I think they can. I think Tua can go, if you put Tua on Detroit against that offensive line with that running game, I think Tua will win you 13, 14 games. Absolutely. Mahomes and Burrows both lost in Super Bowl due to O-line. Those quarterbacks can carry a team, but Tua has proven he can't in 5 years. When is Tua? What year did Tua have an offensive line? Tua couldn't win with the Lions, Raphael. Stop it. You're saying Jared Goff is that much better than Tua Tagovailoa. Raphael, stop it. Stop it, brother. Stop. Raphael, Tua wins with the fucking Dolphins. What are you talking about? Tua wins with the Dolphins, brother. 2023. Look it up. How many games did Armstead miss? How many games did Robert Hunt miss? Yeah, that was our starters at the beginning of the season. How many games did Armstead play? How many games did Hunt play? Teron Armstead's career stats. Ten games. 10 games he played. So he played a little bit more than half the season. Robert Hunt's career stats. Again, he missed damn near half the season. Armstead did. Robert Hunt, 11 games. He missed 5 games. 5 games. Connor Williams, career stats. Connor Williams only played in 9 games that year. What are you guys talking about? That's the year that you want to say that Tua had such a great offensive line? Is that the year you want to say that? Armstead missed 6 games. Robert Hunt missed 5 games. Connor Williams missed 8 games. Is that the year you want to say we had such a great offensive line? Literally half the offensive line you just named missed half the year. KC and Bengals made it to the playoffs. KC and Bengals made it to the Super Bowl with piss poor O-line play. We can't get past first round. Yo, again, Pat Mahomes and Joe Burrow, Tua is not them. I'm not trying to argue that. So goddamn it, should Pat Mahomes take his team farther? If you put Pat Mahomes on the Miami Dolphins, are they going to be a better team? Yes. Pat Mahomes is a better quarterback. Pat Mahomes is going to do more with less. Joe Burrow is the better quarterback. We can get past the first round. But Tua needs more than what they need. He's not them. Has there ever been a team that has won the Super Bowl without a good offensive line? I don't know if there has been. That was Tua's best line. Yes, that was Tua's best line, but they weren't very good. They still didn't have a good offensive line though, Raph. Come on. So with shitty ass offensive lines, we're still going to the playoffs. Now you tell me if you give Tua a top 10 offensive line, we can't win a playoff game? Come on. Please, brother. Please just have a little. You gotta have a little. You gotta give a little bit, bro. Again, like I'm not trying. I feel like I'm just constantly repeating myself constantly. Tua is not the answer at quarterback for no other reason, but he cannot stay healthy and we cannot rely on him. But you fans out there that are saying that Tua is just straight garbage as a quarterback, that Tua with the right team around him can't win playoff games, you're absolutely mistaken. You're lying to yourself and you're lying to others. If Tua has a top 10 offensive line, the Miami Dolphins are making the playoffs. They're winning a playoff game. I guarantee it. We can throw some dough down. The only expectation and the only legit thing I got to say is that Tua's got to play at least 14 games. And if Tua plays 14 games, I guarantee the Miami Dolphins win a playoff game this year. Raphael, stop it. He's proven himself. Why's he got to go to the Arena Football League? They lost to the Buffalo Bills by 3 points in the playoffs with a backup quarterback. I don't blame Tua. I said this team is bad and undisciplined, at least on offense. No will have success if they like they did last year. Shake, I agree this team is undisciplined. Mike McDaniel has created an unhealthy vibe in the locker room. He's let the inmates run the asylum. I don't know if he can come back from that. But one thing I can say is that Chris Grier is going to do everything physically possible to make sure he puts the best product on the field he can possibly put this year to try to save his job. And the person ahead of Chris Grier, who's ahead of Chris Grier on the Miami Dolphins? Who's Chris Grier's boss besides Stephen Ross? Who's ahead of the Dolphins? I can't think of his name right now. Does anybody know his name right offhand? Does anybody know Chris Grier's boss right offhand besides obviously Stephen Ross? But there's someone above him. I just can't think of his name right now. Garfunkel? Yep, Rafa, there you go. Now, Garfinkel needs his job this year is to make sure that Chris Grier doesn't really screw us in the ass. Garfunkel, he needs to make sure that Chris Grier doesn't go too far overboard, because Chris Grier is going to do everything and anything to save his job. And he's going to mortgage our future. And Garfinkel needs to make sure that he doesn't go too far with it, because he could really set this team back a long way. He could set us back a long time. It's his responsibility to this franchise, Garfinkel's, to make sure that doesn't happen. But come on, guys. I'm telling you, this is going to be the sorry about that. These Miami Dolphins, I guarantee you, if Tua a playoff game, the offensive line needs to be addressed. There's plenty of people in free agency that he can go and get and fill the voids. He can. If this team has a top 10 offensive line, look out. We need to go get a big body running back for them short yardage situations. Man, oh man, I wish this was last year and we could go and snatch up Derrick Henry again. That was such a mistake not bringing him here. But yeah, mark my words, the Miami Dolphins will make the playoffs if Tua stays healthy, because Chris Greer is going to do everything in his power to bring a winner here. He's going to do everything in his power to fill these holes. For the first time, he's going to swallow his pride and do what's necessary so he can survive. It's about survival here. It's about survival finally. And when your back's against the wall, you'll do what's needed to be done to survive. And he's trying to survive. So please make sure you hit those like buttons. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you come and see Big C every Monday through Friday, 10 a.m., where we just, some days it just goes like this, where we don't talk about a lot that's constructive, I guess. But yeah, we just shoot stuff around and have a good time. I know I had a good time today. I appreciate everybody that stopped through. Actually, tomorrow, I have a doctor's appointment at 10 a.m. So I'm going to try to hit you guys with a video and pop it out at like 9:30 or so. I'm sorry about that. I forgot all about that. I had a doctor's appointment tomorrow. So I won't be live at 10. But I'll try to have something for you guys. But I'll be back here Thursday morning, 10 a.m. So sorry about that. I appreciate you all. Thank you so much. Whatever your feelings are about Tua, you gotta keep it real. Bonnie had the most realist statement of the day. That if the team is built properly around Tua and Tua's healthy, Tua can win, and he can. Raphael, it's cool. You can listen. I know it's all in fun a little. You know what I mean? I don't take no offense to it. You know what I mean? It's all in good banter. It's all in good banter, brother. You be you. I don't want you to change for me. If that's what you like to do, you do it. This is a safe zone, brother. You be you. If you like to troll and you want to troll, go ahead. It's cool. I'm just gonna shut you down. You know what I mean? You be you, brother. I appreciate who you are as a person. I don't want you changing for me. But thank you to everybody that stopped in. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment, and share. And I will drop something tomorrow, and I'll see you Thursday. Thank you so much. And fins up, baby. Peace.